We'll come back to the process side of what's going on at Chelsea in a minute. You mentioned that Colwill.
I actually hate that word, process.
I know you do, but what when you say Levi Colwill looks bang average,
yep,
break that down for me.
Okay, one-on-one situations, he gets skinned every time. Every time. Yeah, and that's not just his fault. He's getting isolated because the gap between the centre backs and the midfield is like you could slide the Titanic in there. Yeah, it's a massive gaping hole because Caicedo's nowhere to be seen, Enzo's too far forward, and Conor Gallagher is trash. Right, but then when you're in one-on-one situations, you need to defend better. Yeah, you know Ollie Watkins is right-footed. Show him on his left. You're showing him down the right. Then you block the shot, the initial shot. Yeah, but you don't get enough on it. So now it comes back to him, and then you have to stand up and now try and jockey him and force him away to the corner flag or to an angle where it's impossible to shoot, or put him back on his left. And then hope that your midfield runners are coming back in or your other centre-back partners there. It's dead too easy. I see it against, was it Brighton the other week they played? Can't remember. They played somebody the other day and he got nutmegged. Got nutmegged on the goal. Like, it's like, bro, close your legs. Yeah, like, honestly, close your legs. He is so easy to go one-on-one with. It is crazy. Yes, he might be an up-and-coming young superstar. Nobody really knows. But they've hyped him up so high to give him JT's number based off of what? Based off of the fact, oh, he's an academy boy, he's come through the ranks, he had a good season last year. I'll give him JT's number. Yeah, get behind. Oh, go on, lads. Yeah, mate, this is why I get the ump with football at times, Terry, because a player can have a half-decent season, one decent performance, 5 decent performances. Ultimately, you are now playing for Chelsea Football Club. Expectations and levels are supposedly different to Brighton. Yeah, and he's been trash ever since he's gone in that first team. One-on-one is rubbish, mate.
Do you not feel, though, there's two things here. Firstly, it was Thiago Silva that was defending against Ollie Watkins for the goal, not Colwill. But do you not think this is partly on Poch?
Was it Silva? No, it was Colwill.
No, Silva. Thiago Silva was...
Maybe I'm wrong. Number 26, I see the back of his shirt as Watkins put it in the back of the net, mate.
I swear it was... I thought it was Silva.
I'm going to get the highlights up now. I'm pretty sure.
You highlights on your phone. Yeah. I just thought it was Silva.
I'm pretty sure it was... If it isn't Colwill, I'll take it all back. Yeah, but I'm sure that was Colwill, mate. Yeah? Yeah, it was Silva with a nutmeg. There you go. It was Silva that got nutmegged. My bad. But that goal at the weekend from Ollie Watkins, that was him. Yeah, that was him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but the nutmeg, okay, fair enough. Cool. The nutmeg was...
So that's cool. Again, it was. I don't remember everything about that game. I was watching that Liverpool and the Arsenal game all at the same time, so things do get murky when that happens. But do you not feel like the issue though is that he's a centre back being played as a left back and it's creating problems for him?
No, I don't. Yeah, modern football, Terry, right, has got these funky inverted fullbacks, inverted centre backs. Like, he's left-footed on the left side, right-footer on the right side, all of this rubbish. If you're a good defender, you're a good defender, mate. Doesn't matter where you play. Yeah, if you put Tony Adams at left back, he'd still be the best defender on the pitch. If you put John Terry at right back, he'd still be the best defender on the pitch. No. I know I'm going to the extreme in terms of top defenders.
Do you really think that? If John Terry, you think if John Terry played at fullback, he would have been just as good, just as dominant?
Yeah. We've seen Nathan Ake at Man City play at left back half the season last season. He's a centre back. And look how good he was. Probably one of the best, if not the best, from that period when he went at left back. He was probably the best left back in the league from when he started at left back last season all the way to the end of it. Ended up resulting in the treble. We've got Vardial playing left back. Then the other days at centre back. If you're a good defender, you're a good defender. Yeah, you have to have the IQ and the brain to know that, right, this guy, this is my opponent. He's right-footed, so I'll show him on his left. Yeah, if you've got somebody like Trossard, for example, or Pedro Neto, they're equally as good with both feet. Yeah, Jota's another one at Liverpool. Yeah, equally as good with both feet. So now you have to defend them slightly differently. Yeah, you have to engage them quick and get on them. As soon as the ball's coming into them, bang, on their first touch. Yeah, sometimes you'll wipe them out and give a foul away, get booked. Yeah, but you do not let players that are technically gifted on both feet a chance to run at you because it's game over. Yeah, but when there's a player that's so one-footed like Ollie Watkins, show him on his left. Run him down the channel and then pop him in the left. Yeah, so you're blocking off that angle. You're not doing that. It's basic defending, Terry. Yeah, if you put John Terry, and I know I'm going to one of the greatest defenders in the Premier League era, and same with Tony Adams. If you put them two anywhere in that back four, they'd be the best player on the pitch defensively. Because they know what to do.
Yeah, defensively, I agree. I do think players, especially like John Terry, would be exposed in fullback positions because of a lack of pace. I think if you put...
No. Let me stop you right there. Let me take you right back to the cup final. Yeah, when Arsenal in 2017 won that cup final, I was there. We will be there. Yeah, Per Mertesacker, first game of the season, came in at centre-back. He has no pace. Yeah, he has no pace. Didn't see Eden Hazard skin in him. Yeah, he was being dragged out to the right fullback position.
Yeah, did he get played? Did he get played at fullback or centre back?
No, he got played at centre back. But there's times in a game where your fullback. There's times in a game where your fullback's so far forward, and now you have to cut in at right back to block that gap because now Hazard's on the break.
So you don't think a centre back who lacks pace could struggle if starting and playing in a wide position for the majority of games?
No, not at all. Because if you're defensively sound, yeah, and composed. Yeah, and know where to be. Yeah, how many times you've had some great defenders at Man United, some great defenders at Man United. Yeah, how many times was Rio Ferdinand out of position? And I know we're talking centre back, but how many times was he on the front foot? He was nicking the ball. Vidic was the power. Rio was the finesse. But Vidic, yeah, would go and get the ball, but Rio would step in and he'd cut the ball up. Because if you read the game extremely well. Yeah, you don't give him a chance. You have to know your opponent. So it's like if he gets the ball, bang, I have to get on him quick. Yeah, if he gets the ball, cool. I know he's one-footed, so I show him on the wrong foot. Yeah, so he's left. He's a right-footed player playing on the left, so I won't let him cut inside. I'll show him down the wing. Yeah, it's all about your levels and how you deal with it.
I understand that. I think where we need to be careful. I understand your point. I think
that comment's perfect, by the way. Dan Burn's about 8 foot tall.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. So let me just say, like, Dan Burn does a very good job at left back, and I think, and what I was about to say, I think there are certain players who can do that role, that can be centre backs, that can play in those wide positions. We've seen Man United, Wes Brown do it for a number of years. You guys have got Ben White playing out there right now, where I would say predominantly been. So I think it works. I do think sometimes though, but I do think there's an element there of certain players that have terrible pace would struggle. What I also think as well, when it comes to someone like Levi Colwill, is that he is a centre back and he's also 20 years of age. And what I mean by that is it's about experience as well. So he's not even got that much experience yet of being a centre back kind of under his belt, as an example. However, he's now being told to play in a left back role where he's also not experienced, and he's kind of struggling, if that makes sense. And some players kind of that's what some don't. So I think it's one of those things. Let me finish my point. I think some defenders can go and do it. I don't think all defenders can. This is the thing. I don't think every centre back that's ever played football would be proficient and of a good enough quality to play in the Premier League as a left back, especially in this era where lines are so high and there's a lot of room in behind. So I do think you have to kind of get it right. Not everybody. It's like attackers. Some players can be left-sided attackers, but over the course of their career, they can adapt to be world-class on the right and through the centre as well. Ronaldo did it. Gareth Bale was able to do it, but not everybody's able to play left, right, and down the centre.
That comes back to the quality of the player, the reading of the game of the player, the ability of the player. Yeah, and not only that, if these fans didn't hype up a player that's so young, like you said, because you've mentioned his age, 20 years old. Well, if he was doing all right, nobody would mention his age. How old's Erling Haaland? Nobody mentions his age because he's bagging goals for fun. No, so it's only age is brought into it when a player has deficiencies.
No, age is not only just brought into it in that point. Erling Haaland is an anomaly. Hang on, I'll tell you why Erling Haaland is an anomaly. Because there's only been one other striker in European football in the last 50 years that has scored at this rate at his age, and that was R9. No other striker or goal scorer has been anywhere this. You could argue Mbappe as well, but Mbappe's not been doing it domestically in one of the biggest leagues in the world. It's an anomaly because it's barely been done. It's rarely been done, as an example. Most young players take time to settle and develop. Most 20-year-old defenders are not top class to world class and proficient, even in their own position, let alone multiple positions by the age of 20. So for me, I think what you're doing there is you're taking the exceptions of outstanding players.
Okay, I'll give you a better example then.
Hang on, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. I think what you're doing is you're taking, there are always going to be examples of handfuls of players who are proficient at a young age in one or multiple positions, but the vast majority of players are not. So the rule can't be made for the exception for me.
Okay, explain William Saliba then. Or is he an anomaly? Because William Saliba is what, 22, 23 years old, is in his 4th season of professional football. He's played in the French league. Yeah, for 3 of them. How old is he? 23? 22, 23? The guy's an absolute Rolls Royce. 22, there you go. He's in his 4th season of professional football. Yeah, he's played 3 seasons in France and 1 full season at Arsenal, and now he's into his, probably his 5th season of football now. Yeah. So that guy, and again at the weekend, the way he absolutely turned and spun, cool, casual, composed. How many times do you see that guy get spun? How many times do you see that guy? Wait. How many times do you see that guy?
Bro, let me respond, because you asked your point. So I get what you. No. Well, but you've said Saliba. We know what Saliba is. I get you. Yeah. I would say this: Saliba has played 155 games in his career, compared to Levi Colwill, who has played just 29 at top level football. Right. One is nearly 3 years older than the other. I think that also plays a big part in it. Plus, my opinion is this: Saliba could be one of those anomaly players that we're talking about. All I heard last year, and I've heard from a lot of people, is best young centre-back in the world. And in fact, there's a lot of people that say right now he could be the best centre-back in the Premier League. Nobody is making that claim about Levi Colwill. So when I look at the plaudits, the accolades, the way that a player is coveted, Saliba is, I'm not going to use the word hype because that's disrespectful. Saliba is spoken about, rated in a vastly superior way to that of Levi Colwill, if you minus Chelsea fans who, of course, big up their own academy player as an example. For me right now, if you said you can sign Saliba or Colwill, it wouldn't take me more than 2 seconds to say, William Saliba, now get him up. I'll go pick him up, get it done. So I do think there is a very, very big difference between those two players right now. However, what can happen in the next 3 years is and we've seen this, and I'm not saying this happened to Saliba, because we've all seen this where players burst through 18, 19, 20, 21, they're amazing, and then they stay at that level. And then some players, as they get towards their mid-20s, they just continue to get better and better and better over time. So development comes at different stages. So back to the original point, I understand that Colwell's been poor so far this year. It's hard for me to judge a centre-back of his age with limited experience at the top flight end who's being played out of position in a team that's massively struggling overall. The situation isn't good for him. Very different from that as a player who's playing in his natural position in a team that's playing well, who's older, with more experience. So I think when you're comparing things, you have to do like with like. And I think the circumstances, age, and overall ability, Saliba is a much better defender than Levi Colwill, in my opinion.
Okay,
yes.
At 20 years old, because that's how old this lad is, yeah? Right, first and foremost, right, the amount of people I've seen hype up this Colwill, yeah? Hype him up to, like, the moon and back, right? Hype him up based off of what? Based off of 1 season. Okay, cool. Fair enough, he did all right. Yeah, but now he's in a Chelsea team that is struggling. Well, that's irrelevant. If you're quality, you're quality. Enzo Fernandez is in a Chelsea team that's struggling. He still performs most weeks. Can't do it on his own. I get it. But he still walks off that pitch most weeks and you go, he played all right today. Yeah, he played all right today. Now go back to Saliba 3 years ago when he was 20, or two, well, he was 19 3 years ago because he's not 23 yet, right? People were saying the Mbappe centre-backs. Yes, he's lived up to that standard. Yes, he's been in a more settled team. I get it. But he weren't. He was in St. Etienne. He was on loan here and there, blah, blah, blah. But he was still performing to the highest of highest levels, even in teams that were underperforming. St. Etienne nearly got relegated. Yeah, but he was getting in team of the weeks and team of the seasons when he was 19, 20 years old. Yeah, is that guy getting in team of the season this year? No. Regardless of how poor Chelsea are, St. Etienne nearly got relegated. He got team of the season.
But I understand that. But there's 2 things I would say to that. And I'm not saying It's not about right or wrong here, because I want to make that's not what I'm saying. Saliba is better than Colwill, 110%. But Chelsea fans hyping him, potentially overhyping him, saying he's better than he is, for me is irrelevant to how I'm going to assess him. Because I'm only going to
him that he's bang average so far from what I've seen.
So I totally understand that you're saying that. But for me, I don't think he's ready or experienced enough yet to, in a dysfunctional team with a new manager, who, by the way, the team has been 39 points in their last 38 games, 12 points in the last 18, to put him in an
Chelsea manager, Pochettino, should be coming out saying he can be one of the best greatest centre-backs in the world.
Okay, and I get, but that's, again, for me, all of that is irrelevant from what we're talking about, because that's just, well, I'm going to assess the player more harshly because of good things that have been said about him. That's kind of not how I operate, really. But for me, it's a case of, I just don't think he should be being played out of position this early in his career in a dysfunctional team who are in relegation form. Put that aside for a moment, though.